Hello, I just wanted to go over the Nature at Work lab, give you a little info on that in case you're absent or need a little extra help. So this Nature at Work lab, we are going to, now we just finished the genetics unit, so as kind of since it's still fresh in our memory, we're going to do a lab that has a little bit of genetics in it. And we're going to talk about this probably not till more towards the end of the year in May or June, but it's going to deal with some ecology, environmental things. But since we just finished genetics, I thought it's fresh in our memory. Let's do this lab now. We can talk about it later this year after we do it this week. So in this lab, we're going to investigate how natural selection can lead to changes in a species over time. Natural selection is all this kind of talks about deals with evolution, which we are not going to talk about evolution this year. You will next year, but evolution basically is what changes in a species over time is. Something evolves over time. It changes very slowly. This takes a long, long, long time. And usually nature selects who's going to live and who's not going to live. Sometimes you'll hear the phrase survival of the fittest. So in this lab, nature is going to select for the fittest mouse. We're going to see which mouse is the most fit. And fitness, the most important type of fitness for this lab isn't to be strong or be fast, or smart. It's basically to be camouflage. So if you're camouflaged in, that is actually the best fitness to have for this lab. We are going to, so what I want to do is I want to go over this whole lab with you, and then you can use this eventually for help if needed. So problem, how do species change over time? So there's going to be two scenarios that we're going to do for this, and you're going to need two different sets of cards. So you should have picked up these two sets of cards. One of them's green and one of them's pink, and you're going to have to cut these out. So you're going to get these different handouts with these cards on them. So there's going to be green ones and there's going to be pink ones. You're going to have to cut out the cards for these. I also made, for you to make it a little bit easier, I made a couple labels for when the mice actually do die or live. There's a dead mouse and a live mouse pile. So you can help keep those separated and you don't mix them up. Handout, pencil. Okay. So you're going to be picking green mouse cards and pink event cards. The green cards have letters written on them. They represent the alleles for mouse fur color. The genotype information for the mouse can be found in Table 1. Table 1 is right here. Here's Table 1. So here's your green cards. They're either going to be 25 capital W's or 25 lowercase w's. Hopefully you can tell. Should be able to tell the two apart, capital from a lowercase. It's a little bit bigger. So you're going to cut those out. You'll have 50 cards total. And let me go back to the instructions here. The genotype can be found in Table 1. Please fill out the phenotype in Table 2. So let's look here. So here's Table 1. The big W is dominant. It represents the allele for white. So white fur is dominant over little w, which is brown fur. So we're going to pick two at a time because you get two alleles, one from mom, one from dad. So you're going to pick two at a time. And these are the different types of genotypes you could possibly get. You could get big W, which would be a white furred mouse. You could get big little w, which would be a white furred mouse, or little w. You guessed it, that would be a brown mouse. The pink event cards, there are 25 of these pink event cards, and these have a bunch of four different letters on them actually. 5 of the cards have the letter S, which means no matter if you pick this card, the mouse survives, no matter what color it is. If you get that one card that has a D on it, disease kills that mouse, no matter what color. And if you get the one card with the letter P, a predator kills that mouse, no matter what. 18 of them, this is the tricky part here, 18 of them have the letter C, and in this case, a predator kills a mouse if it contrasts, which means does not blend in to its environment. And the first scenario we're going to do here is in a white sand environment. Well, I wrote up here, it's white sand, brown's not going to blend in. Brown is going to contrast. Here's brown sticking out, and then here's white blending in. You can't see it as much. So this brown one is more likely the one that's going to die and get eaten by a predator. So you have to mix up the green cards. Begin by using the cards as model what might happen to a group of mice living in the white sand dunes. So like I said, you're going to pick two of the green cards. So I'll pick 2 of them right here. It looks like I have a big W and a big W. That would mean I have a white mouse. So I'm going to tally data table 1. I've got a white mouse. And what happens to that white mouse? Looks like that white mouse is going to, the card here, C. Does white contrast? No, white blends in. So this mouse is going to go in the live mice pile. Bloop, I'm gonna put him in the live mice pile because he lives. He survived. And then I'm gonna do this for the whole stack. So I've got 50 cards. If I'm picking 2 per mouse, that's 25 total mice. I'm gonna do one more. Here is a little W. That's gonna be a brown mouse. And that brown mouse got a letter P. Oh, a predator killed him. Dead. So since he died, I have to tell you that he died. 1 for 1, brown mice died. No white mice have died yet, but 1 for 1 brown mice died. And I'm gonna put him or her in the dead mice pile. I'm going to continue doing this until I am out of mice. Once I am out of mice, should be, like I said, should be a total of 25 because I have 50 cards. Once I am done, I'm done with generation 1, and I am going to leave the dead mice dead. But the live mice, I'm going to shuffle, and I'll shuffle the pink cards again also, all of them. Reuse all the pink cards. Pink cards get reused no matter what. So I shuffled the green lives, only the lives. I'm not going to shuffle the dead ones. They can't make babies. And I'm going to do the whole thing again for generation 2. That'd be the kids. So I get that all done, do that again, the whole trial, the whole generation. And then I'm going to do it one more time for the grandkids. That'd be generation 3. Remember, just the live mice. Don't reuse the dead mice. And eventually, I will total them all right here. So here's where I put the totals from above. Total them, total them, total them, total them. Here is one that was done already. Just going over this real quick. Looks like in the first generation, I had 5, 10, 15, 18 white mice. Only 2 of those white mice out of 18 died. I had 8 brown mice. All 8 of them died. 8 for 8. In the second generation, I had 15 white mice. None died. 1 brown mouse, and it survived. Yay, good job, brown mouse. In the last generation, the grandkids, I had 15 again, white mice. Looks like 2 out of the 15 died. And then 1 brown mouse, and he died. 1 for 1 died. So the totals for this one that I have here, 48 white mice, 10 brown mice, 4 dead white mice, 9 dead brown mice. So I need to take these totals and I need to plug them in on the next page here. So in part 1, how many white mice were there? 48. How many brown mice were there? There was 10. I didn't do part 2 yet. In part 1, how many dead mice, white mice were there? I believe there was 4. In part 1, how many dead brown mice were there? I believe there was 9. Right? 4 and 9? Yep, 4 and 9. Now I put arrows to help us see it. So if you see, 4 out of 48 died. 9 out of 10 died. So we have to figure out something called the death rate. So in the white sand environment that we just did, there was 4 dead mice. Number of dead mice, 4, that goes on top. Total number of mice, 48. And 4 divided by 48 gets to be about 8%. 8% of the white mice died. Brown mice, it was 9 died, 10 total. 9 out of 10, 90%. 90%. Significant, right? 90% of brown mice died, only 8% of white mice because they blended in. You're going to have to reshuffle this whole thing and do it one more time, but this time, part 2, roles are reversed. It's in a forest floor environment where this time brown is going to blend in. Brown is going to survive if it gets that letter C, and white is going to die if it gets that letter C. So this one, roles are reversed. Again, fill out the data table, fill out analyze and conclude, and then you'll have to do the death rate, and it should be the opposite. This time, white mice should have a much higher death rate than brown mice, and there's just 4 questions. 4 questions to finish this off. And that is pretty much it. That is it. Okay, any questions, as always, email me, help class. Otherwise,